Have you ever wanted to use RGB LEDs successfully in your Arduino programs? Or do you not know what RGB LEDs are and you want to learn how to use them and what they are? Well, you came to the right place because that's what we're going to do in this tutorial, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy this video. And like I said before, we're going to be learning how to use RGB LEDs in this tutorial. So, RGB LEDs are different from regular LEDs. They can display different colors using just the one RGB. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, and it produces those colors, but that is not all that it does. It can produce many other colors, a variety of colors, but it depends on how you manipulate those three colors to produce many more. So that's what we're going to learn in this tutorial, how to manipulate RGB LEDs to produce what we want them to. And RGBs are found in almost everywhere nowadays. They're found in televisions, they're found in smartphones, they're found in computers, they're found in electronic billboards even. So, let's get into the parts we're going to need to build this project. So, for this project you are going to need one breadboard. I have a pretty large one. You don't need it to be that large. It's sort of a small circuit. An Arduino. I'm using the Arduino Uno, so make sure you've got an Arduino before we start. Make sure you've got a handful of jumper cables. If you don't have enough for this project, be sure to go grab some more. An RGB LED, I'm using a common cathode for this project. Make sure you have a common cathode. And make sure to have three 330 resistors, because that's what we're going to be using for our RGB LED. So, those are all the parts you are going to need to build this project. So let's go back and learn how to build this. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to build this project. So first we're going to take our RGB common cathode LED, and be sure to take note of the longest pin, because unlike regular LEDs, for the common cathode the longest pin is the cathode, the whole cathode for the RGB, so take note of that. So we're just going to place this on our breadboard right there. And so before we start, we're going to place in a wire right on the common cathode and connect it to ground. Make sure to do that. And so now we can take our 330 ohm resistor and connect it to all the other pins that were not the cathode, because these control the different colors of the RGB. So after you've done that, you have your RGBs with its resistors and ground. We're gonna start connecting a ground bus to the negative power bus. And so we really do not need to connect the 5 volt bus, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, just to make it a habit. I would just do it. And now, since you've got that connected, we're gonna take each of our RGB connections and connect them to pin 9, pin 10, and finally pin 11. And so after you've done that, I'm gonna put a schematic of the RGB to show you which ones go where. But just keep in mind that red goes to pin 9, green to pin 10, and blue to pin 11. So I'll put a little schematic of the RGB. So now that we've built this, let's go hop onto the computer and learn how to program it.
Alright guys, here we are in the programming part, the first programming part of this tutorial. So here I'm going to show you how to program your RGB project. So first, at the top, we're gonna be making some variables So red LED, green LED, and blue LED. I named them this because I feel like it's easier for me to understand it that way. You can name these whatever you want, whatever you feel like naming them. And red goes to pin 9, green to pin 10, and blue to pin 11. Now make sure that each of these are PWM pins because that's going to come in handy later. So that's all that there is to it, nothing out of the ordinary there, just a few variables. Then we go down to the void setup. Here we're just defining a few pin modes. All of these are outputs. Red LED is an output, blue LED is an output, and green LED is an output. So finally we make it down to the void loop. Here we have our analog write functions. And analog write is a lot like digital write, but instead it looks very similar. See, analog write are LED, but instead of being high or low, it is a value. So these values control the brightness that each of these shines, or how bright they are. And this comes in handy when we're trying to make different colors using our one RGB LED. So that's basically it to program this right now. These are all 0, but we will go back and test different combinations for each of these to make different colors for our LED.
Okay, so first I'm gonna show you how to make the color red, and I'm gonna put the functions at the top of the screen, but just so you know how to make red, the red LED has to be set to 255, the green LED to 0, and the blue LED to 0, and this is how it should look. So after since we've got red, let's try to make green. And they're all basically the same. Well, the red, the green, and the blue. So for green, you just set the red LED to 0, the green LED to 255, and the blue LED to 0. And I'm sure you can guess how to make blue in an RGB. And you just have to set everything but the blue LED to 0 and the blue LED to 255. But you know, that's kind of, we want some more colors, right? So let's try and make the color white. And to make white, it's all the colors combined. So everything, all our red LED, the green LED, and the blue LED are all set to 255. So now you can see that we've got a white color as an RGB color. So let's try and make yellow now. And to make yellow, the red LED has to be set to 255. The green LED has to be set to 110. And the blue has to be set to 0. Now let's see what it produces. And so now that we've got that, you can see we've got a yellow color. So now if we want to make purple, we just have to set our red LED to 175, the green LED to 0, and the blue LED to 255. So now let's upload that and see if it actually produces purple. And it does. As you can see, we have a purple color. And we can also go ahead and make a pink color. And we just set our blue LED to 50 and our red LED to 255 and the green LED to 0. So let's upload that and see if it is in fact pink. That is a pink. And so finally you can experiment with these values to make even more colors, but I just made a few colors for the sake of time. And so now that we can make our final color, which is aqua, or a tealish sort of color. So we set our red LED to 0, our green LED to 255, and our blue LED to 25. And so we upload that and we get sort of a bluish, greenish color. Oh, it actually looks pretty green on the camera. but it is in fact sort of a bluish greenish. You can upload it for yourself and see that you can upload it yourself, and you can see that it's kind of a bluish greenish color. And so those are all the colors that we're going to use in this video. So let's hop back onto the computer and learn how to make a program that uses all of these colors.
Alright, here we are in the second programming part of this tutorial. And so here I'm going to show you how to go through different colors while having a delay, so you get kind of a loop of it replaying different colors using the one RGB LED. So up here in the void setup and the top, we have the same as the testing combinations code, where we're just naming the variables. They're in the same place, so no need to change up here. The void setup, we know that they're all outputs, so it's the same there as well. The void loop is a lot different, but before we go over that, I want to go over the void set color int R, int G, and int E. So void set color takes 3 arguments, each for the brightness of the red, green, and blue LED. And like I said before, the brightness ranges from 0 to 255, with 0 being off and 255 being the maximum brightness. And so these analog bright functions right here set the brightness for each of the LEDs, such as R LED, the green LED, and the blue LED. So these set the brightness for each of them, respectively. So now that we've gone over that, we can go back up to the void loop, and this might look a little weird, a little strange, but mainly this set color function that we haven't seen before. But all set color does is it's the same thing as the 3 analog bright functions from before that name the brightness of the red, green, and blue, but instead it sort of compresses it into one single line. So these are divided by commas down here. So there's 3 groups. So this is the red part, the red LED in the RGB. This is the green, and this is the blue. So each one controls the brightness. So as you can see, I labeled them here of the colors that each of them produce. And we went over these colors in the testing combinations. But these are just, see, this is pure red because this maximum brightness is just in red, and the rest of the colors are not on. And so these are just the combinations that we went over before, but more on a smaller scale. And to make it into a code, so it changes colors every half a second with a delay of 500. And it goes through all the colors: red, green, blue, white, yellow, purple, pink, and the tealish color. And that's basically all there is to it. And so let's upload this program and see what it does.
Okay, so now that I've walked you through what you're going to need to program this, let's upload the sketch and see what it produces. We already have our USB connected to our Arduino. So let's upload the sketch and we will see what it produces. Okay, so now that it's uploaded, you can see that it cycles through all of the colors that we produced in the last program. So as you can see, every half a second it changes to a new color. So that's pretty cool how we can create all these different colors using one RGB LED with a few simple commands in the Arduino IDE. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're gonna try one more code that fades the red, the green, and the blue colors, that fades them in and fades them out to create a cool fading effect.
Alright guys, here we are in the final part of programming for this tutorial. So, this code is going to be very familiar to our first RGB program. So, up here, the same deal, the red LED, the green LED, and the blue LED, and stating what pins they are. And in the void setup, again, it's the same thing, just the pin modes, and we already know that all of these are outputs. And down we still have the void set color with the same functions in it, and nothing's changed there either. But when we go to the void loop, a lot of things have changed. But it's nothing more than the same things we've been doing in the past codes. So up here we have our set color function, but instead of doing different colors, I decided with the three main colors of the RGB, the red, the green, and the blue, but instead of just making them turn on and off, I'm making them fade in and fade out, and then moving to the next one. And to do this, it's a lot of code, but I encourage, if you have a less tedious way of doing this, share it in the comments. And so, because we are a community and we're trying to help each other learn, so if you have any other ideas of how to make this fade, share it in the comments. But anyway, this is my idea of making a fade. So I just made a bunch of set color functions, but each of them have their own little increase and decrease of brightness. So here we have just all of them are off, and after a delay of 30 milliseconds, the red keeps going up by 25 every 30 milliseconds until it goes up to its maximum brightness of 255. And after it reaches that, it starts fading back down. But here I have a delay of 1 second. So after that 1 second, it starts fading back down to its off state of 0. And after that, after the red is done, it moves on to the green, and it follows the same pattern as the red did, and when it reached its maximum, again it went back down to 0. And finally, after green finished, we move on to the blue, and it follows the same states as red and green. And so after it finishes, it should fade on and fade off the three main colors of the RGB LED. So let's upload this code and see what it produces.
Okay, so now that I've shown you how to program that code, we're going to upload that sketch into our Arduino. So we still have our USB connected, so let's start uploading this code. Okay, so now that this code's uploaded, we can see that the LED fades in and fades out the three RGB colors of red, green, and blue. So that's basically all there is to it. Thank you for checking out this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And be sure to check out my other videos on my Arduino tutorials and my new series on C programming tutorials if you want to check that out too. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.